Are you working harder than ever, putting in crazy hours, doing all this work, and feeling like you're not necessarily getting compensated for the fact that you're putting in these hours? Many of us are feeling like we're working crazy hard, but there's no guarantee of success like it was back in the day or how our parents told us it would be. So today I'm going to be talking about this same frustration that most people are feeling, why the old system is broken, and what you can do moving forward to make the right changes. And if you don't know who I am already, my name is Tabirade, and I help professionals like you navigate the changes within this sliding economy so that you can really thrive in a portfolio career that you've chosen to pursue. Anyway, let's continue with the rest of the video. Now, there are many of us who feel like they have done everything possible. I'm telling you, they've got the accreditations, the qualifications, the experience. They've got this random thing in some unknown island where only 1.25 people have ever got it before in their lives. And still it's not enough. Still, it's not reaping the rewards that you're seeking. This could be monetary rewards. This could be recognition. Even if you're loyal, even if you've done the hours, the traditional promise that we have been given doesn't exist. In fact, it feels really hollow. So it's almost like I'm only doing this stuff to survive right now until I get clarity in terms of what my next steps could look like. I remember speaking to somebody on a discovery call one time, and I said to them, I know exactly how you feel. It feels like you're running to stand still. And that's what a lot of people are feeling right now. Now, I'm not going to say I have a silver bullet or the complete solution. If you stay tuned with me, then I'll be able to reveal to you what I'm doing to at least better position myself so I don't feel stagnant. Now, figuring out how to apply all of these rules can be a bit difficult and a bit overwhelming. And so to reduce that overwhelm, I've produced an action log template, something very simple, something that is overlooked at times. So if you're looking for an action log template, you can check out my action log template below and click on the link to get that into your inbox. So what's actually broken here? What is preventing you from actually moving the distance and getting the rewards that you're seeking, or at least have been promised? Well, it actually stems in some systemic issues that have arisen. Now, if you look at the ONS, it will show you a picture that although wages may be growing, actually it fell by 6.2% at the end of 2023. Now, if we think about that in real terms, when it comes to inflation, actually real growth was about 1.9%. Of course, you can check latest figures and all this kind of stuff there, but the point being made here is that actually the amount we're getting paid is not lining up with the real cost of things based on inflationary activity. This isn't just a feeling. There is a structural disconnect. There is a socio-economic disconnect. Some research has shown that the lowest fifth of the wealthiest people within the UK can earn up to 11 times more than the poorest. That's insane. And this is before any taxes have been taken away or anything like that. So if we think about it structurally, we've been set up in a certain way where, yes, those who are socioeconomically disadvantaged are less likely going to climb out of the ladder. Now, of course, there is an argument to say that the top 25% of individuals within the UK, or top 25% who are the richest within the UK, pay 75% of the taxes. But outside of that fact, for everyone else, life is difficult. And so our wages don't even account to real terms inflation, meaning the rising cost of goods and services and the slow rate at which we get paid doesn't match. So what this creates is growing income inequality. There are more people who don't necessarily have the right level of income to support themselves. So if you're going to stick with loyalty and the same thing and, sticking to the traditional system, you're going to get disappointed. It's as simple as that. Now, some people may say, just work harder. Just work harder. But it's no wonder that there are more people burning out more than ever. They've actually clinically defined burnout now. They've refused to do that before. There are much more people getting mental health conditions or being signed off for sick due to mental overload or emotional overload based on the fact that work is the cause of this. People act like it's just a job, but it's not just a job. People are doing 9 to 5s and 5 to 9s. Whether they're doing a side hustle or working extra hours within their day job, they're still not getting the rewards. So this is all about survival right now. And so you working harder is just actually creating more pressure in your body, which is going to cause you to pop. And to be honest with you, if you keep on pushing and you're not getting the rewards that you feel you deserve, you're going to feel disempowered. You're going to feel undervalued. you're just going to be sick and tired. Now, of course, a lot of this involves you looking at your situation and trying to understand what can you actually do. I'm burnt out, I'm frustrated. I feel like I've missed opportunities, or there aren't any opportunities at the moment. The job market's a bit dire. What do I actually do? It's a difficult one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna act like I have the complete solution like I said before, because I feel it myself sometimes. There is a lot happening, and a lot of this is being driven by ambitious or greedy or not as empathetic leaders and or stakeholders and or investors that want more, that have made promises, that are not regarding or understanding the effects that it has on a workforce. An irresponsible set of governments who are spending money willy-nilly and not thinking about what it means in the long term when it comes to paying that money back. There's a whole vast set of reasons why we're in this decision based on poor decisions that were made before. Of course, we had a black swan event with COVID, which tipped it over the edge. Now, I say all of this stuff to highlight the urgency of the situation. It feels more urgent than ever. Change is happening constantly, but we have to think about why this change is happening. And that's because of the technology inflationary environment that we're in, and the need and or want for more information, more impact that's being pushed by the drivers behind all of this innovation. These are one of the reasons. Of course, there are geopolitical reasons as well, religious reasons as well. So many different reasons that are pushing this stress and strain. Hence why we're seeing in the UK why productivity is so low, but not much is happening. A lot of it is performative because we're tired. It's that simple. We are tired. Okay, so we know that the old model was broken. What does that mean for what we need to do? What does the new model look like? Well, you know, it's going to be no surprise that I say some of this stuff, but we have to position ourselves to think more strategically and also take action in the right way. So you have to, you know, this whole old age argument of should you work smarter or harder? There's a bit of both, really. You work harder when you need to, but it has to be on the right stuff. The other thing is we need to be able to create value in some way, shape or form. And so we have been given tools in order to do this. Not everyone's going to agree. Not everyone's going to be comfortable doing this. But for those who are, take this on board. And for those who aren't, you either find different type of advice or you try to navigate the space that you're in right now in the best way possible. Now, it's my belief that most people within the professional arena, that most people who are working should create some sort of personal brand. Why do I believe this? Because it gives you the opportunity to cultivate more opportunities. Now, when I'm saying personal brand, don't automatically think social media. Don't want you to think that. It doesn't have to necessarily be digital, but it does say something about a presence. It does say something about people recognizing and understanding who you are so that they can do work with you, whether that is a product and or service. And so we have to shift from this idea of just working passively within a space and more actively in terms of creating something of value. And that starts off with your personal brand. This will be an accumulation of contexts, i.e. your formative years, your experience, your expertise. This may be content. This is the information that you provide in some way, shape or form. This could be a form of coaching. So do you do advisory and or mentoring of some sorts? Or are you a CEO? Are you building something of value? So we're thinking about things in terms of how we can start to create. Now, some people might say, isn't this just more work? Yes, it is. But if you choose the right thing, it may get your mind away from the nonsense that you may be dealing with right now. And actually, when you start seeing results, you'll start believing in something else that could potentially replace what you're doing right now. And even if it doesn't replace it, you could at least supplement it. We want to be in positions where we get a better sense of control. And we can't control everything, but in order to do that, we need to apply a framework that gives us that sense of ownership and management over our situation, where we don't feel like we're just drowning, but there is a better way. And this is where my personal framework comes into play. Understand, reach, and expand. This is something I say at the end of all of my videos. There is a philosophy behind it, but without getting too deep into that philosophy, here's what it is in essence. So with anything new, you have to understand the landscape, understand what is happening right now. And the way you do this is, number one, there has to be a certain level of acceptance. You have to acknowledge what's happening. And I mean, we will all approach this in different ways, but one way I personally do this is by understanding the markets, understanding the geopolitical situations, understanding technology. You know, if we use a PESTLE analysis, political, economic, I think it's social, technology, legal, and environment, that kind of gives you a framework in terms of the things that you could be looking for. So understand where we're at right now. What's driving these changes? Because if you understand what's driving these changes, then you understand whether you're working hard at the right thing or not. Then you can do something about it. The second thing is develop some level of financial literacy. And I always say the best way to do this is to look at your bank account. Look at your bank account. What's coming in, what's coming out. Understand, how do people improve their situation? What am I talking about? How do you reduce your expenses and increase what you can keep? Or how do you make more money relative to how much you spend? Then you're looking at, how do you save money? How do you protect your money? How do you grow your money? How do you invest your money? Educate yourself. I've got a video based on this. It's still relevant today, so you can check it out. I talk more about, I think there's like close to 20 different things you can consider when it comes to your finances. So once you understand your financial situation and you're clear about what your steps are, because your profit and loss statement or your balance sheet or just your account or your analysis, usually I just do an export, an Excel export or CSV export, and I look at everything and I put everything into a spreadsheet. You have to make decisions. Am I paying off debt? Can I afford to pay for this? Do I want to save for that? Make some clear decisions, but learn financial literacy. The second thing is reach. So reach is the opportunity for you to think about, what unique selling proposition do I have? What do I have to offer? Based on all of my expertise and skills, what can I start doing? And it's a difficult question, so I'll give you an example. Do you just want to move linearly into another role within your organization? Do you want to move horizontally or upwards in a similar role in a different organization? Do you want to go into contracting and or consulting? Do you want to be purely independent and start up your own product or service-based business? Do you have to do that alongside what you're doing, or completely separate? Do you have the savings to back that up? And based on all of this stuff, what will you be doing? Are you going purely based on what the market wants and needs? Are you going based on a previous skill and set of experiences that you have? You will know the answer. But common sense would tell me that do something that you're either pretty good at, pretty curious and or interested in, or the market says works. And you define that based on people spending money on it, people responding to your posts on certain stuff. All of this kind of stuff is confirmation that you lean into those areas and you give it some chance. You treat it like an experiment. Each stage needs to be focused on before you move to the next one. Don't try to focus on everything. This is how you reach. You have to think to yourself, is there something I can improve for someone? Can I speed up the process for someone else? Am I offering something that's unique and never been done before? Or presented in a different way? Is branded differently? Am I giving somebody an experience? What can you do that sets you apart? It doesn't have to be crazily different, but it has to have your edge on it. Sometimes you just need a piece of the pie and that's enough. And so these are things that I mentioned before. Define your unique value proposition and identify and offer high impact value. Okay, so it's pretty much what I was saying. And also try to align it to your personal goals if you can. You know, a goal for you may be, I don't know, make 100K next year. Maybe you're making 50K, and actually net that comes up to £36,000. So you've got another £64,000 you need to make net. You want to make that net or gross? What does that look like? And if so, how are you going to make that money? Maybe you've got a value of having a greater sense of freedom. Your job may not necessarily give you that, so maybe you need to go contracting. Maybe it's time to go contracting or start consulting, or maybe you go for another job or position that offers better culture and values. You need to think, what is it that you're looking to do? And finally, you want to expand your horizons and your actions. You don't want to just sit in the understand and reach phase. You need to consolidate that information and spread it. So one thing you can do is strategic investing. So you want to invest to grow your money and create securities. In other words, there are assets out there, whether this is your typical index funds and or high growth stocks or emerging stocks or markets, that will grow your money for you. Okay, and it requires you to, of course, assess things or get professional support and advice, but you can make this work over the long term, over the next 5 to 20 years or so. It will require some patience. This is a long-term game, but you should still do it. There's also embracing the portfolio career mindset. I talk about this a lot, and really the portfolio career is the approach you take towards your career. It is not following one, it is creating something. It's creating your own career. So being more intentional about your choices. Do I want to do this non-executive director thing? Do I want to become an advisor for this company? Am I looking to build my own business or enter the coaching space? Do I want to strategically change the organization I'm part of because of some stuff that's happening within the market? What is it that you're trying to do? And diversify slowly but surely. Start off with something 100%, then split it 70-30 to something else. And then you keep on splitting it until it makes sense, until it starts working out for itself. It will work out for itself via automation, increased knowledge and expertise and experience, and or delegation. It's going to be one of those three things. So you can assess when it's best to move on to something else, but don't just do loads of things at one time, especially if it's all new to you. That's going to overwhelm you. You only move on to something when you've honed something down. There's also navigating technology wisely. This is the time to learn AI. I know everyone's talking about it, but we can't help it. Humans love things that are shiny and new. Learn AI. Learn to build the app. Learn to integrate and create automations that connect your applications. Learn to connect the databases. Learn to add payment processes to it. Learn to emulate tasks that you're doing right now and automate them. Don't be afraid of it. YouTube is there. Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, DeepSeek, all of them, Quen, they're all there to help you. So utilize AI savagely. Understand technology. Think about different scenarios that can help you do your job better. Because you'll be far more advantaged because everyone's doing it. They're not all talking about it. And yes, you hear the odd YouTuber saying, do this, do that. There are some people exposing X, Y, but everybody is doing it. And if they're not doing it, they're behind. You still need the expertise and experience. You still need that stuff. But in order for you to accelerate the process, you need to be in a position of using this technology to leverage what you know already. It will either promote or expose you. And if you know your stuff, it will promote you. It's that simple. And obviously you have to have some level of continuous adaptation and learning. And this is obviously linked to the last one. But what allows you to stand out? Remember what I said before, strategically position yourself in terms of your portfolio career. So part of that strategy, i.e. the unique approach you take towards producing value, i.e. value for yourself in this instance, is learning. How can you stay on top of things? How can you be on edge? Now, one great idea, free gem for you, you can create your own course on ChatGPT. Create a chat and say, hey ChatGPT, I'd love to understand how to become a machine learning expert. Please, can you create a course for me where you provide me information, then ask me questions based on that information where we have the ability to go through it in a modular fashion. Done this before. Sometimes I use it as a refresher for some of my project work. This will put you in a great position if you can't be bothered to sign up to stuff. But of course, there are vocational courses you can do. There are accreditations you can do. There are exams and all of this stuff that may be important to your industry. So work out what is important. Work out how you want to approach it. Do you want to be conservative about it? Do you want to be liberal about it? And then go with that approach. Don't change your mind until it makes sense. I mean, I've shared this before and I'll share it again, but this is really a high level version of my journey, okay? So I ditched medicine and moved into entrepreneurship. I got myself into 30K odd debt, paying for various different things, learning about, you know, business, property, speaking, trading, network marketing, all these different types of stuff. Then I got rid of all of that because I was just like, oh God, I'm learning a lot, but I'm not really doing anything. And I started to focus on my personal brand, helping startups and small businesses develop their sort of presence online. But then that felt like a fraudster thing because I didn't feel like I was in a position to do that myself. I ended up quitting my job. I ended up becoming a contractor. Then I started to move into consulting and doing more of my coaching stuff. Bought a house, got married, all of this kind of stuff. All of this stuff like revealed itself because I had the opportunity to experience all of that stuff, but then decide actually this is what I need to do based on my learnings. And now I'm helping others get into contracting or consulting careers, but also, and this is independent consulting, but also helping people navigate their portfolio career. Like, what does their path look like? How does that navigate? So these are some of the things I'm doing to, elevate my portfolio career. And of course, alongside this, I'm a trustee for a great charity. I have my courses. I'm an author as well. And I have the odd speaking engagement here and there. Of course, there's still work to do. There's still work to do. I just wanted to give you a bit of a flavor of how I'm approaching this or how I've approached it in the past. So really, you want to move from a stage of clarity to a sense of control. We can't fully control everything, but the clarity is basically information organized and articulated in a way that you can internalize. The control element is using that information and organizing your activities and energy to start implementing stuff. The confidence comes from competence, i.e. the implementation that you take on a repeated basis frequently reviewing what you've done and learning, moving out from unconscious incompetence to more conscious competence allows you to be confident because you've got data to say that you know what you're doing, or at least you've done this before. That's where we're trying to go. So never be afraid. So hopefully that's been helpful. And of course, if you're looking to take action and you need a simple way to manage your actions, I've got this action log template that you can download below. For those of you who are interested, for my next video, I'm going to be talking about how the rat race is meant to keep you average. One interesting topic. Of course, if you like watching this video centered around portfolio careers, the gig economy, and everything centered around independent consulting and contracting, then let's connect. Let's make sure that we keep this going. And if you want to see more videos centered around portfolio careers, contracting, and the alike, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.